I still remember the day I met John. It was at a small coffee shop near my office. I was 25, working as a graphic designer, and life felt like it was just starting to make sense. I spilled my latte on his shirt by accident. He looked up from his book, his cheeks turning red, and mumbled something about it being okay. That shyness drew me in. He was tall, with dark hair that fell over his eyes, and a smile that hid behind his words. His name was John, and he was an accountant, quiet, reliable, the kind of guy who paid bills on time and never forgot a birthday. My name is Victoria, and this is the story of how my husband John turned our quiet little kitchen into the start of the biggest adventure of our lives. It's a story about love, laughter, a spilled cup of coffee, and the day everything changed 9 months before our daughter Emma came into the world. I'm going to tell it the way it happened, step by step, so you can feel every heartbeat, every smile, every tear. Grab a snack, settle in, this is going to be long, warm, and full of surprises. I was 25 when I met John. I worked as a graphic designer in a busy city studio, always rushing, always late. One rainy Tuesday, I dashed into a corner coffee shop, umbrella dripping, and slammed right into a tall guy holding a steaming latte. The cup tipped. Brown liquid splashed across his white shirt like a Jackson Pollock painting. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I grabbed napkins from the counter and started dabbing at his chest like a frantic bird. He looked down, cheeks turning pink, and gave the softest laugh. It's okay. Really. Shirts wash. I finally met his eyes, warm hazel, framed by dark lashes, and forgot how to breathe for a second. I'm Victoria, I said, still holding a soggy napkin. John, he replied, taking the napkin gently from my hand. And honestly, this is the most exciting thing that's happened to me all week. We ended up sharing a table because the shop was packed. He was an accountant, numbers, spreadsheets, the works. I teased him about being boring. He teased me about being a caffeine hurricane. By the time the rain stopped, we had exchanged numbers. I walked out smiling so wide my cheeks hurt. Our first date was simple. A walk in the park, ice cream cones, and a movie at a tiny theater that smelled like popcorn and old velvet seats. John was shy. He held my hand like he was afraid it might break. When he kissed me goodnight on my doorstep, it was quick, sweet, and a little clumsy. Our noses bumped. I laughed into his shoulder. He apologized 3 times. I told him to stop and kissed him again, slower this time. A year later, we were married in my parents' backyard. White chairs, string lights, my mom crying into a tissue. John wore a navy suit and couldn't stop staring at me in my lace dress. Our vows were short. I promised to love you on the rainy days and the sunny ones. I promised to hold your hand, even when we're old and grey. The minister said, you may kiss the bride. John did, soft, careful, like I was made of glass. Everyone cheered. I felt like I was floating. The first months of marriage were cozy. John made pancakes every Sunday shaped like hearts. I left sticky notes on his mirror. You've got this, handsome. We painted our little house together, argued over wall colors, laughed when paint ended up on our noses. We were best friends. But in the bedroom, well, let's just say John was still shy. He'd kiss my forehead, hold me close, and fall asleep. I loved him, but I wanted fireworks. I wanted him to feel free. One night, after a glass of wine, I opened my laptop on the couch. Let's watch something fun, I said. I pulled up a romantic movie with a couple who danced in the rain, laughed in the kitchen, and looked at each other like the world didn't exist. John watched, wide-eyed. When the couple kissed under the streetlight, he squeezed my hand. See? I whispered. Love can be playful, adventurous. He nodded slowly. I want that for us. That was the start. We began a little tradition, movie nights with a twist. We'd pick films full of joy and connection, couples cooking together, chasing dreams, surprising each other with picnics or love notes. We'd pause the movie and try the sweet moments ourselves. John wrote me a poem on a napkin. I surprised him with breakfast in bed. Slowly, he opened up. He'd twirl me in the living room to old jazz records. He'd kiss me in the hallway just because. The shyness melted, one smile at a time. We started dreaming out loud. I wanted to open a design studio someday. John wanted to take me to Italy, pizza, gelato, the works. We made a dream jar, slips of paper with wishes, dance in the rain, build a treehouse, adopt a dog. Every Friday, we'd pull one out and make it happen. One week, midnight picnic. We spread a blanket in the backyard, ate sandwiches under the stars, and counted shooting stars. John pointed at one and said, "That one's ours." I believed him. Life felt full. But the best day, the one that changed everything, happened on a golden Friday in spring. I came home early from work, humming. John had texted, "Leaving the office soon. Can't wait to see you." I decided to make his favorite spaghetti with homemade sauce. I tied my hair in a ponytail, slipped into my favorite sundress, light blue, swishing at my knees, and danced around the kitchen to soft jazz on the radio. Onions sizzled. Garlic smelled like heaven. I stirred the sauce, tasting it with a wooden spoon, feeling like the happiest wife in the world. The front door clicked open. "Honey, I'm home." John's voice, warm and deep in the kitchen. I called, grinning. His footsteps came closer. I turned, expecting a hug, maybe a kiss on the cheek. But when he stepped into the doorway, something was different. His tie was loose, sleeves rolled up, and his eyes, oh, his eyes. They sparkled with a mischief I'd never seen before. He leaned against the frame, arms crossed, just staring. I laughed. "What? Do I have sauce on my face?" He shook his head slowly. "You're beautiful." My heart did a little flip. "Thank you, handsome." Dinner's almost. He crossed the room in 3 big steps. Before I could blink, his hands were on my waist, lifting me like I weighed nothing. I squealed as he set me on the counter, pots clinking behind me. "John," I gasped, laughing. He switched off the stove with one hand, the other still holding me. "I saw something today," he said, voice low and excited. "A video at lunch. A couple in a kitchen, dancing, laughing, so in love they couldn't wait." I remembered. We'd watched a sweet clip online, a husband surprising his wife with a dance while dinner cooked. They spun, dipped, kissed like teenagers. We'd tried it last week, giggling when I stepped on his toes. "I can't stop thinking about it," he said. "About us." Then he kissed me. Not soft. Not careful. A kiss full of joy and fire. I wrapped my arms around his neck, kissing him back. The sauce could wait. The world could wait. He lifted me again, my legs around his waist, and carried me down the hall. I laughed into his shoulder. "Bedroom? Too far," he teased, but he was already there, nudging the door open with his foot. He set me on the bed gently, then knelt in front of me, taking my hands. "Victoria," he said, eyes shining. "I love you. Every day, you make me braver, happier. I want to spend the rest of my life surprising you." Tears pricked my eyes. "I love you too." We spent the afternoon lost in each other, not in a rush, but in wonder. Talking, laughing, dreaming. He told me about his day, how he'd smiled at his desk thinking of me. I told him about a new design client. We made plans, a weekend trip, a new recipe, painting the spare room yellow someday. The sun dipped low, painting the walls gold. It felt like magic. Weeks turned into months. Our love grew playful, strong. John surprised me with flowers just because. I left love notes in his briefcase. We danced in the kitchen every Friday, sauce simmering, jazz playing, hearts full. Then one morning, I woke up feeling different. Tired. A little queasy. I sat on the bathroom floor, staring at a little stick with 2 pink lines. My hands shook. I laughed. I cried. I ran to the kitchen where John was making coffee. "John," I said, voice wobbly. I held up the test. He froze, coffee mug halfway to his lips. Then his face broke into the biggest smile I'd ever seen. We're having a baby." I nodded. He dropped the mug, thank God it was empty, and ran to me, lifting me in a hug and spinning me around. "Victoria, we're going to be parents." We cried happy tears right there by the fridge. He kissed my forehead, my cheeks, my lips. That day in the kitchen, he whispered. The dance, the love. I think that's when our little one started. I believed it too. Pregnancy was an adventure. Morning sickness hit like a truck, but John was my hero. He brought ginger tea, held my hair, rubbed my back. We turned the spare room into a nursery, soft yellow walls, a rocking chair, tiny clothes folded in drawers. John built the crib himself, cursing under his breath when the instructions didn't make sense. I laughed so hard I cried. We painted a mural together, a tree with birds, a swing, our names in the leaves that we told our families at Sunday dinner. My mom screamed, hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. John's dad shook his hand, eyes misty. You're going to be a great dad, son. We took classes, breathing, diapering, baby CPR. John practiced swaddling a doll until he could do it in 10 seconds flat. We walked every evening, my belly growing, his hand on it, feeling kicks. That's our dancer, he'd say when the baby hiccuped. One night, 8 months in, I couldn't sleep. John found me in the nursery, rocking in the chair. What's wrong? He asked, kneeling. I'm scared, I admitted. What if I'm not a good mom? He took my hands. You already are. You sing to her. You read her stories. You love her. That's everything. He sang then off-key, soft, a lullaby he'd made up. I fell asleep in his arms, dreaming of tiny fingers and first smiles. Labor came fast. A rainy Tuesday, just like the day we met. Contractions started at dawn. John drove like a maniac, calm on the outside, panic in his eyes. At the hospital, he never left my side. Held my hand, counted breaths, told me I was strong. When Emma arrived, red, squawking, perfect, he cried harder than I did. The nurse placed her on my chest. She smelled like heaven. John kissed my forehead. You did it, love. She's ours. We named her Emma Grace. Emma for my grandmother, Grace for the way she came into the world. The first year was chaos and joy. Sleepless nights, 3 a.m. feedings, laundry mountains. John rocked Emma when she cried, sang that same lullaby. I'd find them asleep in the chair, her tiny hand on his chest. He changed diapers like a pro, made funny faces to get giggles. We took her to the park, pushed her in the swing, laughed when she sneezed at dandelions. Our love changed to deeper, steadier. Date nights became living room picnics after bedtime. We'd eat cold pizza, watch old movies, hold hands. The kitchen stayed our happy place. John would lift Emma onto the counter where he once lifted me, let her help stir sauce. I'd watch them, my shy husband turned confident dad, my daughter with his eyes, and feel my heart explode. Years passed. Emma grew pigtails, crayons, questions. Mommy, how did you and Daddy fall in love? I'd smile. A spilled coffee. A rainy day. And a dance in the kitchen. John would wink. Best dance of my life. We kept the dream jar. Added new slips. Teach Emma to ride a bike. Plant a garden. Go to Italy, all 3 of us. One by one, we made them real. Emma's first bike wobble. Tomato plants in the backyard. Plane tickets booked. One spring evening, 10 years after that Golden Friday, we danced in the kitchen again. Sauce simmering, jazz playing. Emma, now 10, rolled her eyes but smiled. You guys are so cheesy. John pulled her in. Join us, kiddo. We spun, 3 of us, laughing, barefoot on the tiles. The same counter. The same love. Bigger now, louder, messier. Perfect. That day in the kitchen wasn't just a moment. It was a spark. It lit a fire that warmed us through shy kisses, spilled coffee, baby cries, and every ordinary, extraordinary day after. John didn't just carry me to the bedroom that afternoon, he carried me into a life I never dreamed possible. And every time I stir sauce, hear jazz, feel the sun on my face, I smile. Because our story started right here. In this kitchen. With love. With a dance. With a promise that keeps growing. So here's to spilled coffee. To shy smiles. To golden Fridays and rainy Tuesdays. To the man who learned to dance and the little girl who dances with us now. This is our story. And it's still being written, one heartbeat, one laugh, one kitchen dance at a time.